Thank you, everyone, for tuning in for yet another episode of our Early Childhood Global Spotlight series. Dear friends, today we are glad to be joined by Miss Cathrin Blickling from Melbourne, Australia. We have been
Thank
seeing
you.
her
Pleasure.
superb we have been seeing her superb storytelling posts almost every day on our Early Childhood Global Mastermind group. And friends, who doesn't love listening to stories? But when you are a part of the story and given an opportunity to play characters, make sounds, and also act, I'm sure it is super fun and more engaging. Today we have Catherine who will be sharing with us her interactive and unique way of storytelling. Catherine, I welcome you on our Spotlight series here today. So tell us
Thank you
something
very
about
much.
yourself.
Yes, so I'm a director and writer, but I come from an acting background. And I also have years of experience where I work with children both in a classroom setting as well as outside of a classroom setting, and especially using drama and storytelling to work on different skills and look at different themes.
Okay. So, in the early childhood education, you are known for a program, Wonderland Interactive Storytelling. You also mentioned that it is a step before drama. Can you tell us about and explain what Wonderland is all about?
Yeah, of course. So Wonderland is exactly what the name suggests. It's interactive storytelling. So it's a story that is told, but the children don't just listen to it. They actually get to be part of it. And so like drama, where they use their body, they use their voice, they use their imagination, and they learn about expression, they do that in this as well. So they are actively taking part. They get to play the characters, but it's also a little bit more where they get to come up with their own endings. They get to solve problems and they get to work together. And that's where that interactive part comes in. But actually, I've made a little video which explains exactly what it is and will give you a good idea. So shall we play that?
Yes, let's go ahead. So, here is it for our viewers.
Welcome to Wonderland, a fun and imaginative journey that allows each child to grow and develop their social and creative skills. Wonderland is a project aimed for students aged 3 to 5. That said, the concept can also be adapted for children ages 6 and 7. Wonderland is separated into different themes. Each theme consists of 10 stories. In Around the World, we get to travel to a different country with each story. Once the students have guessed the country, the image can be coloured in on a map to track the adventure of Around the World. Wonderland has been created for children as a step before they are old enough to do drama classes. It is interactive storytelling. As you tell the story, the children get to act it out, using facial expressions, voices, and actions.
What do you want?
In some stories, the children will have the chance to solve problems, play a certain game, or come up with an ending.
Say something!
But nothing came out.
Oh, I always wanted to work.
Oh no! So it didn't work? What's your idea?
I have a great idea.
Wonderland allows children to go with you on an imaginary journey, be creative, solve problems, and work as a group.
I think he might be scaring.
The dragon walked up the hill, smashed all the way, and went raw! Go! Chi-Chi, come out.
Chi-Chi, come out.
And Chi-Chi flew out and goes, oh, another
Wonderland is the opportunity for children to express themselves, use the whole body, and get the chance to open up in multiple ways. Once the story has finished, each child will then get the chance to create the item that was in the magic box. After finishing the craft session, I found the children love inventing their own stories and role-playing with their puppets. Wonderland is to be fun, magical, active, and full of creative moments.
Oh, wow. That was such a lovely interactive classroom. I would love to listen story in that kind of environment and love to play and enjoy and be a part of. So it was very, very different. I'm sure a lot of our teachers and school owners who are watching may not have seen this kind of way where, there's so much of action, I will say, action along with children when you talk. And I'm sure it is so much so energizing for them. Yeah. So please go ahead. Tell us more
Yes.
about this.
Okay, so it's set up for 3 to 5 year olds. I mean, in the video, there were a few older students in there. That was purely for filming purposes, because I wanted children that already knew the program and therefore felt comfortable doing it in front of cameras. But it's designed for 3 to 5 year olds. You are able to do it with 6 and 7 year olds, but you have to change it then slightly to make it a little bit, I don't want to say more advanced, but just the activities. So that story that was shown was from the series called Around the World, and that one will actually be published next year, so around January. And each store or each theme is set up into booklets, and each booklet is made up of 10 stories, and so that each one of them explores a different theme. So around the world, of course, we go to a different country with each story, where we look at the culture, we look at traditions, and we look at beliefs. In the one that's already been released, the Giant Envelope, it is all about problem solving and using the imagination. So each story is a unit of its own, but it is around that theme. In the Magic Toadstool, I'm starting to get the names mixed up. I've been working on them so much. In the Magic Toadstool, it's all about the hero's journey. So each of them have been set up a little bit different like that. So a book consists of 10 stories and comes with a puppet with each story, and then also a bonus game. However, the story isn't just the story also includes instructions on how to make it interactive, because the whole idea of bringing it out there or putting it out there is so that teachers can access it all around the world and bring it into the classroom. Because I don't know if you've had the same experience, but I find teachers feel very confident bringing art into the classroom. But drama and acting is another thing.
Absolutely.
And
I know. They feel a little shy and not that confident of doing it, I think. So that's very. So what inspired you, for coming up with this Wonderland? What is your inspiration? Why did you start this Wonderland?
Good question. Well, the first reason was that, and look, I don't know if you have had the same experience, but I find that children are, how do I put it without being negative? Because I'm not against technology. I love technology, and I'm not against the screen. I mean, I would be a hypocrite. I'm in the film world being a director, but I find that maybe because children have been spending so much time in front of the screen that they are starting to struggle with certain skills that are so vital in life. And some of these skills are communication, using one's imagination and being able to describe it rather than have everything spelled out to them, and working together. And these are, as mentioned, skills that I believe are so important in life. And it's so vital that we catch it early and we enhance that in that age group, especially because it does still come naturally, that play. So that was one of the reasons that while I was teaching drama, I started to notice that children are struggling with those skills. So I really wanted to help on that aspect. And then the second reason was that it was during my time that I lived in Vienna, and I ran a theatre company, and I was also working at an international school where I ran drama classes, both in the classroom as well as an extra curriculum. And one of the teachers came to me and said, "Do you have anything for 3 to 5-year-olds?" And it was then that I realized that actually drama classes don't exist until the age of 5 or 6 upwards.
Absolutely.
And what a shame, because it's exactly that age group, that love to play, that naturally tell stories, that really get involved in it. And that's really what sparked Wonderland. And it took about, I would say, a term basically a term of running these classes, and at first using stories that I found online, until I realized it's so much easier for me to make up the stories and really then bring out the things that I want to in the children and explore the themes that I want to, that I came up with the whole concept. And I mean, I put Wonderland together to go for an hour because that's what I had at the time, but really can be expanded or made smaller as well. But yes.
Amazing. I think great. So, Cathrin, let me tell you one of my experience. I learned to act, I will say, for the first time in my corporate when I was working few years back. So they had taken us out on a offsite. We called it offsite. So various
Yeah.
people from different departments, they were taken together in a room, and
Mhm.
there was a theater artist. He was brought there to teach us to engage with each other. So what we happened that, okay, so somebody will become an elephant, the other two people on the side will become his ears, two people will become his legs, and the center person will be the controller, and they will. So actually what we learned is socializing. So the whole idea was to collaborate and learn through art,
Yeah.
through theater.
Yeah.
And it was one of the most memorable day in my life, because we thoroughly enjoyed as a teamwork. It was a teamwork that we learned
Yeah.
during this entire offsite event with a theater
Yeah.
artist. So I thought I'll just
Yeah.
share it and bring this here, because I was just thinking about it, that how interesting it was when I was watching
Yeah.
this video. So
Isn't it wonderful? Yeah.
yes. Can anyone tell these stories, Catherine? Or you have to be from a acting background. Like there are a lot of teachers who would be watching, and school owners, if they take your
Yeah.
package, will they be
Yeah.
comfortably able to use it, or you need those
Yeah.
acting skills? Please carry on.
No, of course. Look, no, you do not need to be an actor to tell stories. And the way that I've created Wonderland is so that we can bridge that gap, because I find that teachers aren't taught drama when they go through their training session. So a lot of teachers don't feel comfortable bringing those skills into the classroom. But first of all, by creating it as a storytelling program, I'm hoping to bridge that gap, because we all tell stories, we all read stories, and how much expression you use or how much you use your body. I mean, naturally, I use it a lot. You can already tell, even here, I'm using it a lot. It's up to you. It's something where, yes, I mean, and I do offer training sessions as well. I can work with individuals or groups, and I can give you a few tricks. But hopefully the program gives you enough that anyone can do it. And also by actually including the children more. So why is it that teachers, even though they're not artists, feel comfortable to use art in the classroom? It's because they've got something and they give it to the kids. In this program, it's the same thing. They've got a story, but it's the children are part of it. So it's, again, up to the children. You can give the idea, which I write into the story, let's plant seeds. And then the children will actually get up and do it, because they naturally like to play. So yes, anyone can do it. And that's how I've set it up. And of course, as said, I do offer training sessions that can be done via Zoom, either as a group or in person. But hopefully this has been established to bridge that gap so that teachers feel comfortable bringing these elements of drama into the classroom. And that's why I see it more as storytelling. You are telling a story that the children are actively involved in.
Fantastic. So how is this entire setup done? Is it you need that entire theater, or you need a platform? I don't know how to say it, but then you need, can it be done in a classroom very conveniently? How is the entire thing set up?
Yeah. So no, I actually ran it in the classroom. I did not run in the theatre. My live streams that I don't know if you've seen yet or not, they're done in a studio. That's more because we did the cameras and the lights. But no, the classes are run in a classroom, as you could see in the video. So all you need is, I moved the chairs and tables back a little bit so that the children have space to move in. But really, that's all you need. And most classrooms are set up like that. And the way that I've structured, so I'll go a little bit into how Wonderland is set up, is so that you can change it to suit your classroom as well. So as I mentioned before, is that I ran it as a 1-hour class. So what I first did is I start with a magic box. And the reason I begin with the magic box is that, one, it unites everyone and it brings everyone together. And it shows to everyone that this is the start of Wonderland interactive storytelling. And only by working together with their invisible wands, so I try and use as little props as possible so that you can do it wherever. So with their invisible wands, they open the magic box, and out of the magic box comes the puppet. So the reason for this is that, one, it gives you time, so I usually use about 10 minutes, to check in with the children, to bring everyone together, to introduce the theme and to introduce the puppet and talk about what you're about to go on. And children love this whole discussion as well. They love sharing ideas. And I'm always amazed at how much they know when you look at different themes. So how much they know about certain countries, or when we did Our World, how much they knew about recycling or about climate change or about pollution. So it was a wonderful way to check in and get them excited and get them prepared for the story. Then I always ran the story, and the story's written to go for about 20 minutes, but because of the way it's written, with the beginning, the middle, and the end, and within that middle they have a few options on how to solve the problem, you can make it as short as, I think 7 minutes was the shortest I've done, or as long as up to 40 minutes if the kids are really engaged. And I found this element super important because, having done it myself, I know that on some days, children might not want to be as active because they are hot or tired. Or on some days, they're really getting into the story. Also, each class was so different. So I ran Wonderland for about 4 years. And, we sometimes had one class love one story, but then the next year, they actually weren't as interested, but enjoyed a different story, So I had to, mold it to suit my class.
Yes.
And then the last part, which is just as important, is making the puppet. And that again, look at like all of your art and craft sessions. You can do it at the tables. I try to make them as simple as possible because I know that age group, they sometimes do need help with cutting things out or sticking things together. And, this is probably just as important as the story because, one, it allows those children that are crafty or would like some time to really use their imagination and put it in themselves, especially after having done all that work together. And also it takes it to the next step, which I don't know if I mentioned on my website, but honestly, this is just as important. It allows them to continue the story with play. And play, as we all know, it's vital. So through the puppet, they get to expand the story, they get to retell the story, or they get to create their own story. And they do this together because they all have the puppet. And that's what I love about it.
Superb. So I already know that your style of storytelling is way different from the others, what we traditionally do. But we want to know from you that how does Wonderland differ to other storytelling programs that are out there,
Yeah. So I really, while I knew Wonderland was fantastic in regards to having witnessed children grow while doing it, and that's why I was so passionate as well in developing this, I didn't actually notice how different it was to other work that was out there until in the last year when I started bringing this out to the market. And I don't think I've seen any program that gets the children up and moving like Wonderland does. So storytelling, I mean, we have it all the time, right? We hear stories, but it seems to always be passive engagement. So they are sitting and listening while someone is telling the story, or they might be yelling out things, but none of the stories that I know actually gets the children up and moving and gets them being the characters, or also solving the problems, working together, describing the places. So I don't just describe the magical forest. I have got it written down in the story so that you can use it to spark up, the discussion or the imagination. But then I always give it to the children to continue, to create it, to make it their own. And that's how it differs. And we'll go in a moment to another video that I created. But so for the pandemic, I decided to fight something I've always been fighting. So I haven't wanted to take Wonderland to the screen, despite people having asked me, why don't you make it into a TV series? And I was like, no, I don't want to, even though it's my industry. But for the pandemic, I decided let's try and help, because I know how tough it has been on parents and teachers. For parents, because a lot of them are juggling working from home as well as looking after children or coming up with new ideas. And for teachers, because I just admire what you do, because you are either changing your whole program to make it work for Zoom Kindy, or you are juggling working both in a classroom as well as online. And that's tough. And so I thought, how can I help? And the way that I've decided to help was by creating live streams. So each week I come out with a different story that anyone can access for free. And what's been really lovely is that even though I can't interact with the children, parents and teachers have been sending me videos and sending me emails how their child has been up and moving, still, flying around the room, going swimming with me,
Shout out
using
to
their
all the
expression.
viewers. Please, she's already on our mastermind group. It is, the story session that she does live is free of cost. She's not charging. You just have to fill in your email address, if I'm correct, and you get the link to access it. Please watch her storytelling, and I'm sure you're going to love it. Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
So,
And you can use it in the classroom or at home.
right. So you want me to play the video for you now?
Please do. Yes,
Let's
please
go ahead. Here you go.
If you've not done a Wonderland adventure, let me tell you what Wonderland interactive storytelling is. You will not be sitting, listening and watching the story. You will be up and moving, climbing that mountain, sneaking past the giants and saving the day. You will be using your body, your voice and your imagination while we solve the problems. Is a very stern and strict lady. Can you show me what a stern and strict lady would look like? They stand rather stiff, don't they? Now she also screwed up her face as if a yucky smell was always following her. Can you screw up your face like that? And then she walked around as if she had swallowed a broom. Ready? Let's walk around. Oh, someone sat huddled next to the wall, looking very sad. Can you look sad and huddle next to the wall? Have you got any idea? How can the kids in Pumbleteen get out of this? And then she noticed the children and walked over to them. Who are you? She said. And what are you doing here? The children answered, and Charlie just stood there with his mouth open. Can you do a stunned face? Go. They were suddenly in a room full of bubbles, but they weren't just any bubbles. They were big bubbles. Can you be a big bubble? And there were little bubbles. Can you be a little bubble? Bumped straight into one of the bubbles. And guess what happened? The bubble went pop, and out of it came a lion. Roar, said the lion, pouncing. Can you be a lion? Go, roar. Does this sound like fun? What would happen if I popped you? What would you turn into? Wonderland interactive storytelling is more than just getting a child up, moving and going on an adventure. In Wonderland, children learn skills that are vital for life. These include communication, thinking outside the box, problem solving, gaining social awareness, and emotional understanding. They're skills that prepare a child both for school as well as life. And the best thing is, it's all done through story and play.
Amazing. Again, yet another lovely video. Amazing that explains it all. So, what do you want to say on this to our viewers, Catherine?
Look, it's about having fun.
Yes. So
That's what it is. It's
what are
about
the
having fun, getting up,
what are the
playing.
main benefits of choosing Wonderland? What are the things that you decided that what are the main benefits of Wonderland?
Okay. Oh gosh, look, there are so many different benefits. And what I've done on the website, if you go there, is I've actually divided it into 3 different categories. So I've done benefits for teachers, benefits for parents, especially now with having online versions or the Zoom, and benefits for the children, of course. So looking at the children quickly, I mean, this is actually what it looks like. I've tried to really keep it simple on the website, and you can just pop it up and it'll be an image that comes to the screen. So looking at the children, I mean, I already explained, and you would have picked up on this, that a huge one is communication, thinking outside the box, problem solving, and working together. However, another one that I would like to focus on is one is the active engagement, and secondly is being part of the story. And the reason I want to focus on this is because this is really what draws Wonderland apart from other programs. Firstly, by being actively engaged, the child learns skills, but learns it to such a deep level because their body remembers it. And by being part of the story, a child is able to step outside of their comfort zone a lot easier and discover these skills or discover new ways of working because their attention isn't on themselves. And this is vital. And I'll give you an example, okay? So last year, I looked after a little puppy from Vision Australia, so a dog that will be trained to be a guide dog. And his name is Fidget. And he came to me and was told that, or I was told already, that he had low self-esteem. And the way that that was shown was that Fidget got scared when he was in a situation that he didn't know, and therefore he either froze up and would refuse to move, like literally refuse. I mean, when he was little, I could pick him up and still go forward. But now that he was big, there was no way that I could pick up a big Labrador and carry him to the other side of the road. So he refused to move, or he got so scared that he hid behind me. So when we were introducing new things that he had to do, like walking up the stairs, I discovered something where if his attention wasn't on himself, he was totally fine. So Fidget loved other dogs and loved children. And at that time, I was looking after a little girl, Audrey is her name, and Audrey loved him and he loved Audrey. And wherever Audrey would go, Fidget would follow. And so when we got to the stage of where we had to get him used to walking upstairs and he was so scared, I just got Audrey to go up the stairs first. And Fidget, because his attention was on Audrey, he followed her up those stairs without realizing it until he was actually at the top. And then I got Audrey to walk down the stairs and Fidget followed again. Now, we did this 3 times until Fidget, having realized that, oh, I can do this because I've already done it, just went up and down the stairs himself. And that's exactly what Wonderland does. So in Wonderland, a child has their attention on the story, on the characters, and therefore suddenly a child that usually doesn't join in an activity is with everybody else lifting their huge balloon up into the air, or with everybody else making the sounds of a giant roar. They don't realize it because they are so engaged in the story. And then, having done it, because they were actively engaged, they have already stepped out of their comfort zone and taken on those skills, which they then apply into their life. So, yeah, those are the 2 that I really wanted to concentrate on, just because I've also had parents and teachers writing me emails with the development of children that, they hadn't seen their child actively getting up for a long time, or, or participating in talking with the other children or talking in front of other kids. And so, yes, the benefits are endless, but those are the two main ones. And I don't know if you want me to go into benefits for teachers at all.
Please go ahead. Yes, we have teachers
Okay.
watching. Yes.
So for the teachers, a big thing that I thought was important in a classroom, or what makes it easier, is one, that I always want to create something that I can expand on. I mean, it's hard coming up constantly with new engaging ideas, but if you've got one idea and you can keep growing on it and expanding on it, then that makes life a lot easier, but also it keeps the children excited and interested and keep growing. So that's what I try to do with Wonderland. Firstly, by setting it up into 10 stories, but secondly, by having the different categories of having the magic box, having then the story, having the puppet, and then continuing the play. So I try to create a world that can be expanded on. Secondly, what I try to do is make it really flexible so that you can make it suit your classroom. And this is the most important thing for me, I think, because each teacher is different and you have to be able to make it your own. I'll do it my way, but you can do it your way. And also each class is different. So you can adapt it to your child, each child, or the classroom. So as I mentioned before, I mean, I've sometimes made the stories go for 7 minutes. I've sometimes expanded them to go up to 40 minutes. But what you can also do is you can decide to, one morning you want to do the story, the next day you want to do the puppet, or you want to do it into a whole day thing. So it's really up to you to use it how it suits you best. And yeah, those are the main ones. Look, you can go onto the website, and also I'm always up for a discussion if anyone wants to write me something or say, look, this is what I'm looking for. What would you decide?
Amazing, Cathrin. Before we move on to the show, I'd like to give a shout out to everybody who's watching. Preeti, Sana, Siddharth, Manjula, Preeti, Savika. And there's some users, and then Amita Hazra, and then Parminder Munde, Shailesh Gohel, Rosemary, and again Amita, Neeraj, a lot of you who have taken to join us. Thank you so much, friends. We continue with our discussion with Catherine. Catherine, tell us something that can Wonderland also be used for children who come from different backgrounds? I mean to say that children who are little aggressive, or who come from a vulnerable background in the other ones, or maybe children from some special needs, the gifted children whom we call, and children who have English as a second language. Can Wonderland also be used by them?
Yes, definitely. And look, I've used it myself in a classroom setting where I had one or two children that were struggling with certain social aspects that did come from a vulnerable background, therefore, or had special needs, and also with children that didn't speak English as their first language. The reason it can be used and it really is beneficial to them is one, that what you can do is, as I said before, is you can change the story to suit them. It is one of the reasons why the one story that I told, I had shortened to 7 minutes, because at that time, one of the children, their concentration a limit was very, very short. So even though it was still engaging and it was still active, I needed to move on quite quickly. And what was actually wonderful in that circumstance was that because they were still in the classroom setting with everyone else, that they didn't feel singled out, that I had shortened it, and none of the other children noticed either because they were still actively engaged. But also over time, I was able to expand on that story, and by the end, I had it up to 20 minutes. And that was the achievement, that they had made. Also, having worked at international school, there were lots of children whose, especially at that age, their English skills weren't very developed. And the great thing is, because of facial expression, because of the puppet, because I'm using my body, they were still having fun. They were involved, and they actually understood a lot of the story, and they picked up singular words and retold it, either using their body or using sound effects, and then adding the words that they learned into it. And so it also developed their their language skill set, and kept them involved without singling them out. Now, Wonderland can also then be used to explore different themes. So if you are having an issue in class with an aggressive child, or with looking at how to deal with different emotions or different social settings like bullying, what happens is I've written stories that explore these themes. So you can always call, send me a message, go, this is what I want to look at, and I'll direct you into the right story. But what you then can do is, by having it looked at through a story, you're not singling anyone out. And also by them actively being engaged, they actually get to suddenly see how actions make another character feel, or other children get to see how a character might feel that is experiencing those difficulties. So it's actually fantastic to use in a classroom setting when you have children with special needs, or children from vulnerable backgrounds, or children who don't have English as their first language. Now, it can also be used to just work with those children by themselves, so without a classroom setting, because you tweak the story to suit them, and then you can ask questions. And a lot of it is also reflection afterwards. Let's play, let's talk. How did those characters feel? So definitely it's ideal, and actually I would recommend it to be used also to help you as a teacher through difficult situations.
Amazing. So, Catherine, continuing the Wonderland adventure, you wrote on a website that Wonderland goes beyond the story that you created. Can you explain us a little about this, that how you go beyond just the story?
Yes, of course. So, I mentioned before, a big thing for me is creating something that teachers can expand on, right? Because coming up with new ideas is a bit difficult. So what I've done is I have put on the Wonderland website, in the more section, ideas on how each story can be expanded, and also how a story can be taken home so that parents can continue the adventure. And a big one is using the puppet, creating homes for the puppet, creating backstories to the puppet, having a catwalk with the puppet, and then retelling the stories and looking at different themes and taking themes out. So all of those ideas, some of them which involve drama and acting, because I put little acting activities in there as well, which are lots of fun, as well as some of them include art and craft, and some of them include discussions. I also have included a game that goes with each Wonderland story, and this is again to just inspire another fun, active way of learning and entertaining or playing, while using your body, using your voice, and learning other skill sets that all belong to the story.
Excellent. I think that's so good. Amazing. So you are all about flexibility and adaptability, as
Yes.
we've heard. Can you throw
Yeah.
some light and also tell us how Wonderland can be used during these times of the, pandemic?
Yeah. So yes, before that, I explained how I've created Wonderland to be flexible so that you can make it suit you, your classroom, or your child, and also the program. So you can have it. Each book, it comes in with 10 stories. You could do one each week. You could do 5 over 2 weeks, or 2 over 5 weeks, and how you do it is completely up to you. So that's how I've tried to keep it very flexible. And also within that story, you can take bits out, you can add bits, and those instructions are all in there. With adaptability, the pandemic has thrown us all. The amazing thing is that the whole world is affected by this. So we all understand we're all in this together. So it's very easy to tell this story into the screen via Zoom Kindy. And I've got quite a lot of schools now who have bought it and who are using it as a Zoom Kindy tool, because they can then send the puppet templates either as a PDF to the parents or the hard copy, so that then the children can continue it at home as well. The other thing is, and this is where I've tried to be flexible, through their live streams, even though I can't interact with the children, it still tells the story. It still gets the children up and moving, and you can afterwards interact with the kids via Zoom, asking those questions that I've posted on the more section as well, and getting them engaged, and then getting them making the puppet as well. And so what I've done is I offer each story for sale, either as a hard copy, although it's probably Australian postage is very, very expensive. So it might be best only if you're in Australia to order the hard copy, because international, it does add up. But I've also made it as a PDF so that you can straight away download it and pass it on.
Fantastic.
So that's with flexible and adaptable.
Amazing, Cathrin. I think we can continue talking like this for hours because
I
of the
agree.
energy that you have and the energy that you bring into the show, and the kind of videos that you make. We had a great time. I think it's already past our threshold of time that we
Oh, is
keep
it?
for 40-45 minutes. We can keep talking for this for few hours, but friends, I
Oh,
hope
no
today we got some brilliant insights on the new way of storytelling. I hope this
yes.
discussion is beneficial for a lot of us. My sincere thank to Catherine for sharing her thoughts about the excellent work that she is doing for children. And also, I
Thank you.
thank all the viewers on Facebook for taking your precious time out to watch this show live. May you all have a great evening and happy weekend. Also, to remind you about the Sunday 9 p.m. show, that we are doing again on Facebook Live. It is at 9 p.m. on Sunday, which is 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time in the US. And we have an exclusive episode for young mothers with Miss Prerna Richards from Texas. I think she was watching, she was there with us just now on a very important topic of managing stress for personal well being. It's an exclusive episode. Don't miss this amazing talk hosted by Preeti Tyagi, who is the founder of Wowkids, with Miss Prerna Richards. Thank you so much, Catherine. Once again, we loved listening to you, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be interested seeing this unique way of storytelling. And
Thank you. And if anyone has any questions, they can always contact me.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And thank you so much, Catherine. Friends, thank you so much. Until we meet again, stay safe. Thank you.